Hey guys, how's it going? So tonight I went to another Monroe County, Michigan County Commissioners meeting, and this was a follow-up to the previous meeting that I've shown on this channel. And obviously this is about the Michigan 2A Sanctuary Counties movement and the Michigan Pro-Second Amendment resolution movement here in Michigan, and specifically in Monroe County. But for the rest of you, I'm going to include everything in this meeting that pertains to 2A sanctuary counties in general, or pro-Second Amendment county resolutions. And I think for all of you throughout the whole country who are working on these movements in your states and in your hometowns and counties, I think there's going to be a lot of information. Because this time around, I'm not just going to show a couple of us up there speaking, which I've done in the past. I'm actually have taken a lot of time tonight. This video took me longer than any video I can think of to make. But hopefully this is valuable for some of you out there, because I'm going to show you all of the different parts of the meeting that pertained to the 2A Sanctuary County movement. And I did do a lot of editing, but I'm just editing out things that had nothing to do with the Second Amendment. But I did leave everything in there, from the community comments, including the board's discussion on it, different motions, different things that passed and failed, and things like that, and even some of the commissioners who are having a hard time getting on board with this. I left their comments on there, so they can be spoken for, and you guys can hear maybe some opposition that you may reach in your counties, and specifically for us fighting here in Monroe County, Michigan. So, without further ado, we're going to start off at the very beginning, and this is basically them voting to accept the agenda for tonight's meeting. And on that meeting, there was a resolution. They called it a Second Amendment resolution. Now, this was not Greg Moore Jr.'s original one that I had done the interview with him on over a month ago, or the one that we wanted to be read the last meeting. This was an alternate one that they had taken from another county in Michigan that really wasn't up to snuff. It's not what we wanted. You're going to hear Commissioner Dawn Asper a little later saying that this was a little less than a sharp stick in the eye for all of us who have been passionately supporting pro-Second Amendment resolutions and sanctuary counties. And this is going to be interesting, because no, we didn't pass sanctuary counties today or pro-Second Amendment resolution in Monroe County, but something did happen. See, in politics, it's not always just black or white. They didn't give us what we wanted instantly, but they didn't say no either. One more quick thing too, before we go through the rest of the video. If any of the Monroe County commissioners are watching my video, Commissioner Turner, at the very end during your closing comments, you seem to be very encouraged by us coming out and talking about our point of view, and you said that you're more than willing to meet with us. I thank you for that, sir. I would love to meet with you. We could have a cup of coffee together. We could talk on the phone. We could meet somewhere in the courthouse, wherever you want to meet. I'd love to talk to you, sir. Try to convince you of why this resolution that we want is both appropriate and necessary. I also believe I heard Commissioners Jandro and Brandt also say basically the same thing. So I would love to meet with any of you, all of you, any other commissioners that would like to talk to me. I'm a citizen of Monroe County, so please reach out to me. I'm going to be reaching out to all of you again via email. And of course, Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Asper, who have been in touch with me, thank you so much for what you're doing, and please feel free to reach out to me again as much as you need to. I'm here to help, whatever you guys need. I'm just a productive member of the community, and I want to work with my county commissioners. So this first vote that you're about to hear is Commissioner Moore, and what he's essentially doing is asking them to suspend the rules, which is the set agenda that they had already printed out, and he wants to add a new item to the agenda. And this is no doubt would have been his original Second Amendment Sanctuary County or pro-Second Amendment resolution. So that's what you're going to hear this first vote on right now.
I now entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
I'll make that motion.
Support. Got motion and support. Any further deliberation?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we amend the agenda to include the resolution that was presented on the January 16th and January 30th agenda meetings.
I have a motion on support right now for the agenda, so I'll pass it to the council as published.
The motion's been made, it's seconded. It's really a motion to suspend the rules, add an agenda item. By our bylaws, it requires a 2/3 vote to pass of the members serving, not just quorum, but we have everybody here. So it requires a 2/3 vote by our bylaws for such a motion to pass.
Right. So at this time, will I take a vote then on the motion to suspend the rules? Council?
Yes.
All right, so with that, any further deliberation? And this is not a vote to approve the agenda as published, but a vote to suspend the rules. So with that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Well, you're saying you want to suspend the rules. I'm against it because I don't know what we're even going to vote yea or nay for. I mean, you know, so.
But, no?
Mr. Chairman, the motion presented by Commissioner Moore is to add an agenda item that has not been placed on the agenda, and I believe relative to a resolution that he wants to propose. So the motion is to suspend the rules to add that on the agenda, his proposed resolution on the agenda. For that to pass, again, it takes a 2/3 vote of all of the commissioners. So what you would be voting on is to suspend the rules, add it as an agenda item. It will be addressed as an agenda item if it's supported by 2/3 of the commissioners.
So, Commissioner Hoffman, you voted no?
Because we already have a resolution placed on the agenda.
All right.
Commissioner Brandt?
No.
Commissioner Asper?
Yes.
Commissioner Jandro?
No.
Commissioner Turner?
No.
Commissioner Oley?
No.
Commissioner Sparto?
No.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Levens?
No.
Motion failed.
So with that, I return to the original motion and support for the agenda as published.
So moved.
Second.
Well, I mean, it already has a motion support on the floor. Any further deliberation for that motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Commissioner Brandt?
Yes.
Commissioner Asper?
No.
Commissioner Jandro?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Oley?
Yes.
Commissioner Sparto?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
No.
Commissioner Levens?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so at this point, Commissioner Moore's motion to add an agenda item has failed, and as of right now, they are going to keep the agenda as written, which includes this pro-Second Amendment type resolution that we're not happy with. But stay tuned.
To the first installment of public comment time, if anyone wishes to address the board.
So the first speaker from the public you're going to hear from is Scott. He's the chairman of the Monroe branch of the Michigan for 2A Sanctuary Counties. Now, this is the Facebook group that has quickly gained over 90,000 members in the state of Michigan here who support 2A Sanctuary Counties. So let's listen to Scott here.
Good evening. My name is Scott Boslett, of Monroe County District 2. I'm also the Monroe County Chair for Michigan for 2A Sanctuary Counties. With permission, I'd like to present a copy of the resolution we would like voted and adopted onto each commissioner. This resolution has already been adopted by 5 counties here in Michigan, or excuse me, 6. We just got a new one today. The resolution that was approved at last week's agenda meeting seems a little weak and doesn't accomplish anything other than to be a feel-good action and hope we would go away. Unfortunately, we're still here. We're here once again to assure that Michigan does not fall into the tyrannical downward spiral that Virginia is dealing with as we speak. All of our members will be at the ballot box this year, and our values and constitutional rights will be made known by the ballots we cast. The term sanctuary has teeth in that it requires a sense of dedication and resolve to the cause. I believe it was Mr. Brandt that said, using the word sanctuary is a slippery slope last Tuesday based on a possible candidate wanting maybe an anti-abortion sanctuary in Monroe County or immigration sanctuary. I can't find anywhere in the Michigan State Constitution that says abortion is a right. So I kind of got to put that to bed. But the right to keep and bear arms is in Article 1, Section 6, pretty plain and simple. Michigan for 2A Sanctuary Counties understands this may be an uncomfortable subject, but unfortunately it's a very necessary one. We will not stand for our constitutional rights being infringed. I ask the board to adopt our resolution, which is Mr. Moore's original resolution, as written and with urgency. Our next battle will be in November when the 91,000 plus members that we have in our group right now, and their voters, and they cast their votes based on how our county commissioners and others in our state government chose to handle this issue. I can personally assure you we will not be ignored, disregarded, or simply go away. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, so this next speaker, well, you guys are just going to have to guess who he is, but I've heard he's not too bad. And I rise again to support a pro-Second Amendment resolution. And I thought we could have taken care of this last week, but apparently not. So we're here again, and there's a lot of us here, and we're going to keep coming. And I'm going to keep talking about this on my YouTube channel with my friends, my neighbors, and we're going to basically keep going until you guys eventually vote yes or no on this. And I talked to several, probably most of the commissioners after the meeting, and I heard some of you guys' inputs on it, so I just wanted to address a couple of those real quick. First of all, people say, well, we already have the Second Amendment. It's already guaranteed to us, so we don't really need to talk about it. Well, you know what? I think we do need to talk about it, because first of all, there's a threat. There's an imminent threat against specifically the Second Amendment, both nationally and coming out of Lansing, Michigan, where there's specific pointed gun control laws that want to undermine our God-given rights. They weren't given to us by Lansing, but they're sure as heck trying to take them away right now. So when we have an imminent threat, we need to look at our elected officials, our public servants, to try to protect us from threats. And that is the duty of everybody here on this commission, to protect us from threats to our Second Amendment, given to us by God, but certainly under attack in Lansing right now. And I would also note, to paraphrase, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said that he's sick and tired of the Second Amendment becoming a second-class right. And you know what's happened all these years? We were all born in the land of the free, the home of the brave, where we've always had this Second Amendment. And so many people say, well, of course we're going to keep our Second Amendment. But you know what? That's not necessarily the case anymore. In the courts, the state levels, and I hope not, but possibly in this county right here, people are treating the Second Amendment as a second-class right. And I don't want any of my rights to become second-class. See, this is a civil rights issue. More than half a century ago, people like Martin Luther King Jr. came in, said, you know what? Black people aren't second-class. These rights protect everybody. And I feel this is a civil rights issue right now. This is the civil rights issue of today. This is pertinent, this is prevalent, and there's a movement going on. And I would note, the speaker before me, there's over 90,000 people that have joined the group, just in the state of Michigan alone, that support Second Amendment sanctuary. If you don't like the word sanctuary, that's fine. We can use whatever words we want. It's kind of like if you sneeze and you say, would you hand me a Kleenex, please? It may be a puff, but sanctuary is the term that's being used nationwide and in the state of Michigan. I also heard people say that they didn't know if this resolution would be reasonable and proper. Well, I certainly believe it's reasonable. Being born as an American citizen, these certain unalienable rights endowed upon us by our Creator, if anybody were to say those are unreasonable, I would just argue with you to the very end, and I will continue to. It's very reasonable to cherish our God-given rights that are specifically enumerated in the Bill of Rights. I've also heard people here say that maybe we don't have the authority to do this. I would note you guys absolutely have the authority to make a pro-Second Amendment resolution. If you look further to the Bill of Rights in the 10th Amendment, it says those rights that are specifically enumerated to the federal government are for the federal government. All of the rest of the rights are delegated to the states and then to the people. So we look to the state of Michigan. State of Michigan has a preemption law for firearms rights. But what that states is no local body can make a more restrictive firearms right than the state of Michigan. So the state of Michigan lawfully commands the commissioners here today that you can't pass a gun control law that would be more restrictive than the state of Michigan. But there's nowhere that it says anywhere that you guys aren't allowed to offer pro support of the Second Amendment. So there's nothing that prohibits you on the state level or the national level. And look at the rest of the 10th Amendment. To the people. The people are here right now today. We're demanding that you guys act as our public servants and pass this. So you've got the authority through the people right now, people just like me. That's your authority, and there's nothing in the state of Michigan laws or the federal law that would stop you from doing this. Now, the other thing is, people said, well, Why are we singling out just the Second Amendment? Let's make a resolution for the whole Bill of Rights. And look, I support the whole Bill of Rights. I'm not going to pick my favorite when it comes to the general philosophy of it, but specifically right now, we need to focus on the Second Amendment because that's the one that's under attack. I don't see any speech control laws coming from the governor's office, from people in Lansing. I don't see any House resolutions in Michigan. If anyone can name me the H-res that says that you're going to get rid of the Open Meetings Act where I can't come and speak, let me know. And then we need to focus on the First Amendment more. But right now we have to focus on the Second Amendment. It's under attack. The attack's imminent. There's legislation written right now. It's in committees in the state of Michigan. So yes, I support the complete Bill of Rights. Of course I do. But I want to focus on the Second Amendment. And by the way, I truly believe, because I've studied the founding documents that were written before and around the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and I truly believe that the founding fathers put the Second Amendment in place in case, and they kind of predicted when, the government would come for all the rest of our rights. So I believe right now, specifically, the Second Amendment is what we need to talk about. We can pass a pro-Second Amendment resolution. Then we can come back later on if our free speech is being threatened, and we can pass a First Amendment resolution. That would also be fine. But right now, I'll just conclude with this. The threat's imminent. It's present to specifically the Second Amendment. Everybody here has the authority to vote and to pass a resolution such as this. I believe it's completely reasonable. I believe it's completely proper. And anyone that I talked to after last meeting said you're pro-Second Amendment. And that's awesome. If you are, just vote for the resolution and show us that you are. If you guys don't vote, I've only talked to 2 commissioners. I emailed everybody here. Only 2 of them reached back to me from my emails. I know that Commissioner Greg Moore Jr. is pro-Second Amendment. I know Commissioner Don Asper Second Amendment. I just did a video a couple days ago. I'm not going to impugn anybody's motives here. All I said is I have no choice but to just wonder with the rest of you guys because nobody's been willing to vote. Nobody's reached back to me. So we do have elections coming up. All of us are going to vote. I just took off work again tonight. So did a lot of these people. We're going to take off work to come here. We're sure as heck going to take off work to come and vote this coming fall. So again, I hope everybody here is pro-Second Amendment. I encourage your vote because as of right now, I just don't know where you guys stand, and a lot of us want to know. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before the next speaker comes up to the podium, if it's another comment regarding the resolution for a pro-Second Amendment stance from the board, if you look under Section 8, Number 2, we do have one on the agenda this evening. So if anyone else wishes to address the board at public comment time?
So this next speaker is a fellow Patriot who took an oath himself as a police officer, and he tells a touching story of how he lost one of his dear friends on this exact date many years ago while his friend was upholding that oath that he swore to both the United States and the Michigan Constitution.
Reason why I'm here tonight, probably baffled as to why I'm here, but as a young man, I worked for the Milan Police Department. 29 years ago today, one of my very good friends was killed front steps of the Milan Police Station, which is in Monroe County. That's why I'm here today. Steve Ruther, along with myself, we took an oath to uphold the Constitution, not only of the United States, but the state of Michigan. Steve Ruther died defending that oath. And you guys have an issue with the resolution that Mr. Moore brought before you, apparently. That resolution is the one that the Michigan for 2A sanctuary counties is trying to get passed. It has substance, and there's a reason why it's trying to be passed, and it's in order to protect our constitutional rights. They are currently under attack by the state of Michigan. Our governor has joined into a letter with 11 other governors around the country, gun-grabbing governors. They're trying to come after our firearms. The Second Amendment protects the First Amendment and all the rest of our constitutional rights. I understand that you guys are trying to pass a resolution that they did in Marquette County. I just want to let you know that in Marquette County, those politicians are under fire now. I don't know if you know who Scott Dianda is. but he's a term-limited Democrat from the UP that was absolutely horrified when he found out that Marquette County turned down this resolution. Scott Dianda is currently recruiting people to run for county commission there, and he's looking for somebody to replace the sheriff and the prosecutor in that county because they didn't want any part of this resolution. So I'm just letting you know that you guys do what you want down here, but I'm spreading the word. I'm letting you guys know what happened up there and what's going on up there. And I guess keep that in the back of your mind if you decide to turn this resolution down. Like they said, there's over 91,000 people on our Facebook group, and we're serious. This resolution tells us where you stand and whether or not you're going to stand up for us and our constitutional rights in this state. So you can't say that you haven't been told. I'm letting you know now.
So this next part is where Scott, who you saw speak earlier, with Michigan for 2A sanctuary counties, he's presenting a proposed resolution to the Board of Commissioners, because during public comment time it is appropriate for community members to present a proposed resolution to the board. So that's what you're going to see next.
Can I present each of the commissioners with our resolution?
You pass it to the, so we have a resolution on the agenda. Is it the same one that, I don't have council?
This is the resolution that we have already had passed in 6 counties in the state of Michigan.
You can provide it to the clerk and that'll be passed down.
Okay.
I don't have any opposition to that.
Thank you. It required 12 counties, I believe, 15 counties.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
So this next Patriot is a combat veteran. His little speech is very short, but yet very powerful. And God bless you, sir, and thank you for your service to our great country.
It's one tour in Iraq, and I'm telling you, this. Sorry, I'm emotional. This legislation thing that he wants you guys to pass, in my heart, is what I serve for. You didn't go over there. For you guys, like, no offense, but some politicians to take away the rights that we went there specifically knowing we were serving to protect. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, so public comment is over, and now the chairman is going to read the supposedly pro-Second Amendment resolution that they had copied from another county in Michigan previously, and they're going to read on that now, and they're going to decide whether they're going to vote for Monroe County to accept and adopt a resolution that, like I said earlier, is much less than satisfactory for those of us who are fighting for a true resolution that's actually going to matter.
This takes us on now to our resolution to declare our support for the Second Amendment in Monroe County. And I read, so the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, County Monroe resolution to declare its support for the Second Amendment in Monroe County. Monroe County Board of Commissioners resolution affirming the board's support of constitutional rights. At a regular meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners on the 4th day of February 2020, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners resolved to support constitutional rights as follows. Whereas the Monroe County Board of Commissioners has been requested to adopt a resolution in support of the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, and whereas when the Monroe County Board of Commissioners assumed office, each county commissioner took an oath of office, under which each county commissioner swore to support the United States Constitution, the state of Michigan Constitution, and to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of county commissioner. And whereas support of the United States Constitution includes all of its amendments, including the Second Amendment thereto, and whereas the commission and all of its members wishes to reaffirm their commitment and promise to support the same. Now therefore, it is hereby declared by the Monroe County Board of Commissioners that this commission does support and will continue to honor our pledge to support the United States Constitution, as well as the state of Michigan Constitution, including all amendments thereto.
I would like to
Well,
move
I don't
that
have a motion of support yet.
I would like to move that we table this until we can have more discussions among the commissioners and with the people who have expressed their concerns tonight. To do this resolution after having done a very minimal not resolution, but motion last time is a little bit less than a sharp stick in the eye to these people. And I really believe that Monroe County is an innovative county. I don't think we need to copy Marquette especially. I think that we should be able to come to our own resolution, much like Commissioner Moore has done, and where it gives legal specifics, and it actually speaks to the reasons why these Second Amendment points need to be made in a resolution. And I do believe it's beneath this board to just once again pass a resolution that doesn't really reflect any more of the concerns that our constituents have expressed, and which I personally believe need to be expressed and enumerated in a resolution. I believe that this is a waste of time to propose this resolution because it basically is just a variation of the last motion that we did. And so that's what government really does well, is to waste time. And I don't want this board to be part of that type of a government.
I would support that motion just because there are public here, voters, residents that have asked us to look at other resolutions. I would ask that we table it until we can discuss this further.
Motion support to table. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Oley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sporto,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Liebens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Brandt,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, this takes us on now to finance.
So they got ready to vote for this resolution that we did not want. Right out of the gate, Commissioner Asper, she came out swinging. She stuck up for the people. She said, no, this isn't going to cut it. And she's been right in the thick of this, guys. She's a good one. She's a really good one. Very, very proud to have her serving us in Monroe County. But I want to also thank the rest of the commissioners, especially the ones that are maybe having some questions on whether they're going to support the original resolution that's going to be hopefully presented again here from Commissioner Moore. I want to thank those commissioners for actually choosing to table this alternate resolution that none of us wanted, which means they're thinking about it. They've asked some of us from the community, maybe they could be convinced of it. So this is just how politics works. This is how even local legislation works. So thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Commissioner Moore. But, thank you to all the commissioners, because I just saw a unanimous vote that they wanted to table this so that they can just simply get it right this time and seek some more input from the community and discuss it amongst themselves. So for that, I'm encouraged. And you're going to see me get up and speak again real quick here during the second public comment period. And this is just me reaching back, trying to give them a fair shake, saying, hey, I've called you guys out for not voting, but you did at least table the half-baked resolution that none of us wanted, which means you're willing to talk. So I just wanted to reiterate to them, as I am again right now, that I'll talk to you guys. If you need a little more information, I'll do my best. I'll try to persuade. I'll try to give you some facts that matter. Whatever you want to hear, I'll talk to you about it. We may not agree, but I'm willing to talk. So that's what I'm about to say right now.
Our last installment of public comment, if anyone wishes to address the board for a final public comment.
Just a brief one.
Oh, my name is Lefiana.
No, not even.
Okay. Yeah, this will be real brief. I noticed that you guys had a motion to table, and that means you guys are going to think about it a little more. And we do appreciate that. You're going to think about it a lot more. And I would note that when I talked to you guys earlier, everyone was making eye contact with me. I do appreciate that as a Monroe County resident and a community member. I only know the public stance of 2 commissioners right now, but I believe all of you are listening to us, and I do appreciate that. And real quick, I just wanted to extend, I've sent you guys an email before. I can send you another brief one. If any commissioner or all commissioners want to talk to me just as a community member, I'm available. We can sit down, we can do a phone call off the record, we can do an interview for a video. If anyone would like to talk to me, I want to reach out back to you guys. I'm here, I'm available. I would discuss this further with anyone who has any questions from the community. So I appreciate you guys tabling the motion. You're thinking about it. That's all we ask right now. You know what we want, but I believe that you're being fair, and I appreciate everybody being courteous, and I am here as a community member, and I'll talk to you guys about whatever you want to. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment?
The last part of this video is going to be the closing remarks by each commissioner, and this is where you're going to see some of them thanking us for coming. You're going to see others saying that they want to talk about it a little more and they'd like to be convinced a little more. So let's hear what they have to say. I'm including all of their closing remarks that have anything to do with this whole Second Amendment resolution whatsoever.
If there's no more announcements, I'll go into members' time. Commissioner Moore?
Thank you. First, I'd just like to say thank you to the public and your input. The fact that someone said they took off work to come here, that is amazing. I'm fortunate enough to work for myself and make my own schedule, but I did work retail for 15 years, and it's very hard when you have a career and a job to take off work and come here and give us your input. So I do appreciate that for those of you that showed up tonight.
Chris Swirl?
I pass.
Chris Turner?
I'm going to echo some of the things that Commissioner Moore brought up in regards to Mike and Kim. Great job. I am a pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment Democrat. Doesn't always sit well with my party. Apparently tonight, with the resolution that was on the agenda, that wasn't good enough to reaffirm our commitment to the Constitution and the Second Amendment. And all I would ask from the gentlemen that were here tonight, and I thought you guys did a great job up there tonight, it may be Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Asper, is whatever resolution we decide to put before this board and vote on, whatever language is in there, to get me to understand exactly why that specific language may need to be in there, why it's not good enough just to reaffirm our commitment to the Constitution and the Second Amendment. So, I'm the type of person, if you can get me to understand it, and as long as we hear from legal that whatever language is in there, it's not going to cause any legal issues for the county or any of our departments, I think that would be a better way of gaining some support. So again, I want to understand. I'm open to hear any comments, suggestions, and again, as long as legal can assure us that it's not going to cause us any issues. But I do appreciate the gentlemen that came here tonight, ladies, and that's what a democracy is all about. So thank you.
Not to be redundant and everything, I echo Commissioner Turner's thoughts on the amendment, and I appreciate everybody being here. I'm also a pro-gun. I own guns. I belong to like members, gun clubs, and so on and so forth. But I definitely support the Second Amendment.
Well, echoing comments, but also speaking to especially Commissioner Turner's and Commissioner John Rowe's comments. We've actually already made some plans to do an educational presentation. I reached out to Top Gun. They did a very good presentation the night that we had our agenda meeting, so I couldn't go there, but they've called me back. And I think that will go a long way to showing why we really want these other things put in the resolution. And just to clarify, when we talk about, somebody said we made a comment about not having authority to do it. It's not that we don't have authority to make the resolution. We don't have authority over the sheriff. It's more of a thing like that. He's an elected official, so we don't have authority over him, but we most certainly have authority to write a resolution as to what we believe and what we expect, because we are tasked with the protection of the residents of the county.
I have some language that I believe is problematic in the proposed resolution that these gentlemen passed out tonight. Be glad to discuss it further with those gentlemen, with Commissioner Turner at any time. I hope that we can come to some kind of an agreement that we don't have people dictating to us what we need to have in our resolutions, or else they're gonna raise hell with us. I'm one of the ones that initially spoke out against the Second Amendment sanctuary county. I don't like that terminology. I probably will not ever vote for this resolution if that language is in there, but it doesn't keep me from being a Second Amendment advocate.
And all I'd like to say is I agree 100% with what Mark's saying, and I'm a life member of NRA. And Kim, thank you for the update. You guys are doing a great job out there. Thank you.
Yes.
Right. Echo all the comments, great job that Kim and her staff are doing. One of the things that I don't think people, at least from the comments that I'm seeing and some of the stuff that's coming before me, my role as chairman, I do not have a veto power. I'm a leader of equals. I think that's a fair statement. Whatever is brought to me, I review. We have an agenda meeting to put it on the agenda. This discussion of the Second Amendment is too important to have something brought to us for fear of being voted down. I don't want a resolution that the members do not fully understand and support. Receive, like Mr. Brandt said, if it has certain things on it, he's going to vote against it. I want to make sure that what we have in front of us represents something because of this magnitude. There's not a single member up here that doesn't support the Second Amendment. I want to make sure my role as leader of this board that we have something that is put in front of us that everyone can, and it's not a guarantee, if it were something different, I wouldn't mind the situation where it was voted down, but I want something that we can all uniformly, we've all taken an oath of office, stand behind and represent as one. And I think that's going to be a challenge with this. We'll keep revisiting it until hopefully we get to that conclusion. So with that, we'll move now into closed session. I think we have a motion.
All right, it's been a long video. For those of you that are still here, hopefully you're able to use this to listen to while you're driving to work or on your lunch break or whatever, but this is how it works in real life. This is local politics. This is how we get local resolutions passed, and we're not out of the woods yet. This is far from past, but we're still working hard in good faith. I'm assuming and hoping that the Monroe County Commissioners are working with the community and that they're giving this deep consideration and they're being very thoughtful in how they're going to vote on the upcoming 2A sanctuary or pro Second Amendment resolution. So I appreciate hanging out with all of you, and for those of you in Monroe, hopefully this gets you motivated. We got to get out there to the next meeting. And for those of you still here from across the country, this is how it may go or may not go in your local county, but you got to hear some citizens talk, some Patriots talk. You got to hear some of the county commissioners talk, just see how these meetings can go. So I hope this was a valuable lesson on just grassroots, pro Second Amendment, activism, if you will, community involvement, whatever you want to call it. This is just us standing up for our rights and, relying on these people that we elect in office to be public servants and to truly protect and serve us here on the local and county levels. All right, thanks for watching and have a good one. The Monroe County, Michigan courthouse entrance. This is where we just had our second meeting to try to get them to put on the pro Second Amendment resolution. Nothing passed tonight, but it was encouraging because they tried to pass another resolution that was not what we wanted. It was much too general, much too vague, but they actually tabled the motion for the alternate resolution that we did not support, which means this. It means the county commissioners are saying they're thinking about it again. They're going to put more thought into it. There's still time for us to talk to them, educate them on this matter, and they're going to revisit this issue later. So while this isn't exactly what we wanted, it does show some promise that these commissioners are willing to still talk about this, and there is still a chance of it passing here in Monroe County, Michigan. And right in there, it's dark now, the meeting's over, but that is right where we just held the meeting. More Patriots came again, but it was awesome, and I'm very encouraged by what we're doing here, and I think we're fighting the good fight, and there's still a chance this is going to pass in Monroe County. So all of you stay tuned and stay involved and keep reaching out to these county commissioners to let them know what we support and what we demand of them as our public servants.